Awesome. All right, guys. So let me just do a quick intro. Welcome everybody who's watching this after the fact. So my name is Jordas Reyes, the productivity coach for Keller Williams Realty Naples and Marco Island. We're here in the Naples location today, and we're going to be specifically talking about how to do a comparative market analysis on a property. This can be utilized obviously to help figure out a price for your sellers when you go to list a home. It can also be used to help out your buyers and figure out what a good price to offer on the home is as well. So it can be used in both, not just for the sellers. I want to make that point. My goal today is to really kind of show you, and here's the thing, I'm going to actually, here's a disclaimer. If you take all three of us, once you guys are, all of us on the call and in person, if we were to take us all in 1 year, and we each have the same property and we have to do a CMA for it, it's very likely we're all going to have a different number. The idea here is to get them close. It shouldn't be where I give Adam a property and he puts it at 600 and I put it at 350. Like something is off at that point. So I say this because here's the thing: when you meet with anybody that teaches you how to do a CMA, they may have a different process or way of doing it that works for them. I'm strictly just going to show you the way I was taught back in 2017 when I joined Keller Williams. Prior to that, I had no idea because I learned it at the other brokerage I was at. I'll teach you the way I was taught and then kind of how I've been continuing to do it and perfect it over the years. I feel pretty comfortable, pretty confident in my abilities, and I take a lot of pride in it. And full disclaimer, I think I've even lost listings because I didn't give them the number they wanted to hear. And this is actually the people I sold homes to, that when it came back to selling it, when they didn't hear the number they wanted to hear, I lost it and they went to someone else. And it's funny because when they relisted with someone else, they listed at the price that I told them wasn't possible. And guess what happened a few months after it didn't sell? They reduced the price and finally sold it. It's just a shame because I lose the opportunity. But that's how honest I am with my sellers at the appointment. I don't try to, numbers are numbers. They're not emotional. It's like, it's features and benefits. Either has it or it doesn't have it. It's either a great location or it's not a great location. If the neighbor either sold for this or it didn't sell for that, like we just can't make up a number. So I keep all the emotions out of it, and the number is what the number is. And it's funny. I don't know if you guys have done a comp yet, Angela and Jen, but the funniest is when you do a comp for your own property. You start to think like how the sellers think, like, no, my home is actually worth this. Like, it's not. It's not. I remember in 2019, I bought a condo that I sold in 2020. I lost money on it, and it was painful. And in my brain, I'm like, no, there's no way it's worth more than this. It is what it is. Yeah. Okay. So other than obviously how to do a CMA, like, is there anything specifically about doing a CMA that you want to make sure I cover along the way? Let me unmute if you're online. Talk to me if you're here. Is there anything specific?
How to define the comparables?
How to define the comparable? Good question. So define an actual comparable. We probably are going to actually start with this before we even start on the computer. So what else? Great one. Feel free to unmute, Jen, Angela. What else?
Range and location, pretty much too. Like what neighborhoods you want to be in, or how close the house.
Like how far you go out to.
Okay, so how the radius?
Yeah.
So how far to go out? Okay, that's a great question. What else?
How about the time?
Say it again.
Like, how far back? 6 months, a year?
Love that. Great question. Great question. How far back?
And then how many like solds did you look at? How many?
How many general?
How many didn't sell like in that area?
Okay. Okay.
How many should you be looking at?
So how many comparables we really need?
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Keep going. What else?
Probably good to know is like comparing it to sold ones and not like, you know, what we talked about earlier, like an active listing. The active listing doesn't count because it's not sold.
right.
It's also good to have just in case.
Oh, yeah.
So active listings, how to look at them, you're saying? How do we use them?
Yeah, how to use them to compare.
Okay. Remind me again, yours was about how far back is that answer? That was that?
Yeah, how far back should you go? Like,
Okay.
I mean, I'm talking about the radius,
Yeah,
like
Radius.
2 miles, 3 miles.
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
Angela, did you say one online that I missed maybe?
So it's.
No, I think the other person did.
Okay, got it.
Like time frame, like go out there.
Oh, how far?
Year, how far to go back.
Okay. Jen, was that right? How far back to go? Is that what yours was?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right, well, you got like really loud now.
Okay.
I can hear you guys perfect now. Anything else? We're good?
How many should you have?
How many? That's what I think of the time is, how many comps we need?
Yeah. To take to the seller
Okay,
or to the buyer.
On the pages to include, I think we went over it this morning, like what pages, so you're not printing all of them out.
let me, what system? What system and or listing presentation is what I'm hearing? To use. As I'm going through this, guys, I think I would actually just talk to you about this first and then go to the computer, because I know it will get lost. Let's just actually answer the questions, and then that'll make it a lot easier when we get to the computer. Anything else? So we're gonna talk about how to define the comparable, how far to go back, how far to go out, radius. Active listings, how do we analyze those, how many comps we need, and then what system listing presentation. Anything else? All right, we're gonna start with this first, actually. So again, this is my method to the madness that I've created for myself over the past 7 years. So defining a comparable, let's talk about that for a second. So what makes a home comparable to another? Like, what are some of the features that we might look at?
Bedroom, bathroom.
Slow down. All right, so bed, bath, keep going.
Square footage,
Square feet, keep going. Online unmute, keep going.
neighborhood,
Location, slash neighborhood. What else?
Pool or non-pool.
Pool.
Hold on, yep, pool,
upgrades,
upgrades, what else?
Acreage.
Acreage, what else?
Oh, the years built.
Yeah.
That's an
So how much,
not all of it.
so how much land, year built, what else?
big roof.
Roof, what do you mean by roof? Like the type of roof?
Type of roof or age of roof.
Nice, so type and age of the roof.
Because all the roofs are old now.
Yeah,
Type of construction.
what type of construction? Yeah, what type of construction? Would you say a wood frame home is gonna be worth more or less than a concrete?
Less.
Less, yeah. What else?
But, not like the heating and cooling system, or that's been upgraded.
Okay, so age, so maybe age of equipment.
Oh, like, and then, like stove, ovens, fridge, like.
Okay, I'll probably put them over here in upgrades, yeah, I'll put upgrades, could be like appliances. Within upgrades, what could we be talking about though? What else, kind of other upgrades that we talking about?
Cabinets, floors, flooring.
Yeah, floors.
Would
windows.
turnkey make a difference?
I'm gonna comment on that in a second, floors, window, what'd you say? Well, I'm gonna put bath and kitchen updates, just to
Yeah.
summarize it, bath and kitchen updates.
New carpet.
Yep, so that's all they on their floorings. Say that again. It was what was the comment? It was,
Would turnkey be a comparable thing or no?
no, I personally do not compare those, it's personal property. The
Okay.
reality is a lender doesn't even wanna see that, and I mean, have I seen people, I think, overpay some, or I wanna say overpay, have I seen someone pay more for a property because it was turnkey? Yeah, in some circumstances, but I'm not putting a lot of weight to it, not like I will any of these other features.
Okay.
Yeah. I think where turnkey makes sense is gonna be later when we're looking at active listings. Remind me to talk about that here again, so I'm actually put turnkey here to remind me. Anything else you guys can think of that we would be using as a comparable to the compare property?
Would rent these homes, like, if they're renting it out already.
What was that?
I said price.
No, not price.
Trying to get the price.
Oh, yeah, all right, so you guys literally made my list up that I use. It's right there. My best practice, when I narrow it down, you guys will see that later when I'm running through it, is that I actually don't even at the start of a CMA, I don't even start with bedroom and bathroom. It says my criteria is to narrow it down. I actually use square footage. So what I would write down if I were you is plus or minus 200 to 300 feet. So if I have a 1,500 square foot home that I'm comping, I'm gonna go 200 to 300 down, 200 to 300 over, and that's the range of homes I'm gonna look at. If the list was like 20 homes, then I would narrow it down by bedrooms and bathrooms, assuming that I wasn't able to narrow it down by something else. Bedrooms and bathrooms are kind of like the last for me as far as what I use. I usually will start with square footage, plus or minus 200 to 300 square feet. Pool, yes or no? Obviously, you know in the MLS, yes or no if it has a pool. If putting no, it doesn't have a pool, gives me 0 comps, then I'm gonna leave it open, because then I can just semi kind of adjust backwards for the pool, right, from another property. So as we go through it, I'm gonna just underline here so that you can see it online. I'm gonna underline in orange my main things I put in. I put in square footage, pool, location. I'm gonna answer here in just a second. I do put in land, how much land is there? I do put in what type of construction to find my initial comp list. And then the year built. The year built, I typically go 10 years old. So typically the 2000 build, I'll go 1990 to 2010. That's generally where I'll start. Now, granted, in a neighborhood, let's say, like, actually, I live in Fort Myers Shores, where I mean, it's a lot of homes in the 60s and 70s, but then there's actually a bunch of newer ones too, kind of spread out. So I got to be very cautious with that. So that's where knowing that neighborhood really kind of comes into play as well. If there's a lot of older homes and newer homes, you might have to play with that a little bit. But these are just a few of the key features in MLS that I click on to start narrowing down my list, and we'll do an actual example of the property here in a little bit. So that's it right there. Picture of it, write it down. What I would recommend doing is what I used to do when I started, so I still technically do it, is I just take a blank sheet of paper and I write them down. I go to collierappraiser.com or lipa.gov. I look up the property. So I'm skipping ahead right now. I'm not even going to show you this part on the computer because I'm hoping you guys will follow along here. And then I'll confirm this data. I'll confirm, okay, yes, it does have a pool. Let's assume this property's never been sold. Where can I go to find out? I can go to collierappraiser.com, look up the property and look it up there. Actually, I will show you for the purpose of the video, make sure that those at home, and you guys know what I'm talking about exactly. But I verify all this stuff first, make my list on paper, and then I go to the computer. So we'll do that with an actual property here in a little bit. So that's how I define the comparables. All right, is it gonna be 100% every single time? No, there's gonna be some unique situation. Today, we're not gonna talk about those unique ones because I can literally coach for hours on just those unique situations that come up. We're gonna pick a property today in Golden Gate City because I think it's a great area to learn how to do a comp. And it's gonna prove a couple different points as we go on the map and I show you guys. So that's what we're gonna use today. How far to go out, the radius. So generally speaking, since we're gonna use Golden Gate City today, we're just gonna use that area and it's more than a 1 mile radius. Typically though, 1 mile radius is where I like to go. And the reason for that is because of mortgages. Some FHAs, VAs, they only consider comps within a mile. So I always start there. I only go beyond a mile if I just can't get any results. And a good example of where I almost always have to go beyond a mile is if you drop a pin on a Mockley Road in Everglades out in Golden Gate Estates, if you do 1 mile, it limits it. But if I go 5 miles, I do have true comparables that I can use. So in that area, Golden Gate Estates, I would go a little bit wider, maybe 3 miles. But generally, I'm actually going to start in the community if it's a gated community. If it's not, then I'm going to go 1 mile. And if I still need more data, then I go 3 miles. So community, 1 mile, 3 mile is the radius that I go. How far back? What do you guys think? How far back should we consider a comp?
6 months.
6 months.
6
Yeah.
months, 6 months,
3 months.
3 months. Anyone else? Angela, I think you're the only other one that has a great number. What's your number?
Go back. Maybe a year.
I was gonna say 3 to 6 months.
3 to 6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in MLS, do you guys know when you hit close, what it defaults to? 120, what is that, 4 months? So that's there, I always just boom, 4 months, I defaulted there. And there's a couple reasons for that. Now, in the market we're in today, in the market, like when we started 2023, would going back 4 months truly make sense? Yes or no?
Maybe not,
Why not?
because it's so volatile, like right now.
Yes. There's a lot of sellers that went on the market. They went with price from 4 months ago, or maybe even 6 months ago, and they're still not selling today. And they're not gonna sell, and the actives tell us that. We'll talk about that here in a second, but when you got active listings sitting on the market for more than 30, 60 days, that'll 4 or 6 months ago, we're selling for the price they're listed at. What does that tell you?
Price too high.
The price is too high. So in the market today, personally, I would feel more comfortable with 1 to 3 max. 1 to 3 max. In today's market, the reality is, fast forward a year, I'm probably gonna go back to my regular 4-month default. And here's what I will say, if I was selling a property, if I'm comping a property in a neighborhood, that wow, when I look at the solds for the last 4 months, there's 50. Well, I'm probably gonna focus on what? The last maybe 30 to 60 days to give me a real picture of what a home will price for. While we're on that topic, I want to prove a point because it's gonna, or kind of make a point because it's gonna come up here with the actives. Okay, online, you can see my little bell curve. Yeah. All right. You can see online, Jen, help me out. Can you see it? I want to show you.
No,
Oh crap. All right, well, there's a bell curve if you want to try to follow along with me. I don't think I have the ability to zoom. Let me see if I use this color, if you can see it. At least you can see the curve. Can you see the curve?
yeah,
There we go. Just imagine a bell curve. On the left side of the bell curve, we have market price. So I just underlined market price. So we're gonna make up numbers today. 300,000. Let's say the market tells me that the data I looked at, the home is worth 300,000. My seller wants to list it for 350. They want to list it above the market price, right? Traditionally, we would say no, we want to list it at market price. But however, we're in this scenario, the left side of the curve, we're in a market that's going up. So when a market's going up, can we price ahead of the market, knowing that the market will catch up to it rather quickly? AKA, this is literally what's happened the last 2 years. Well, end of 2020, 2021, and some of 2022. Sellers were pricing homes above the market, and they were still getting the price or even above the market. The reason, so it was okay to overprice it in that market, is the point I'm trying to make.
Right.
And we were looking at sold data. On the left-hand side, we're looking at the sold data. So if the sold data told me 300,000, well, hey, we should be selling at 300,000, but we're in an increasing market. We could take a chance and go 350. So we're gonna look at sold data on the left. Now let's talk about the right-hand side. Let's say that, for example, the seller wants to list it for 350, but the market truly is 300. What's gonna happen with that house?
It's gonna sit.
It's gonna sit because they want to list it at 350, because over here, 4 months ago, 6 months ago, it sold for 350, but the market now is telling us it's worth 300.
Right.
And they want to list it at 350 from 6 months ago's price. It's not gonna sell. On the right-hand side, so on the left-hand side, we're looking at sold data. On the right-hand side, what do you think I'm looking at to price the home? I'm looking at active homes. So to your point, there is value in looking at active homes, because active homes are the homes that you're gonna be competing against when your property comes on the market. You see, Mr. Seller, we're entering a competition. Our goal today, you and I, is to come to an agreement that we're a good fit for each other, and then together we're gonna figure out the best price that's gonna make you stand out in the competition. You guys remember Jeff in the team meetings, he talks about the stats, and he says, what does he say? He'll talk about absorption rate. He'll say, hey, 33% absorption rate. Well, what does that mean? 33% absorption rate means that 1 in 3 homes are gonna sell that month. So if 3 homes go up for sale, only one's gonna sell. I share that data with the seller. 1 in 3 homes are gonna sell this month. Our goal today is figure out a way to make your house the one that sells, since you need to be up in Tampa by August, so your kids can start school and you can start your new job. Going back to motivation for that seller. Everything's about the motivation. So we know how to define the comp. We know how far to go back or how far out radius to go. We're gonna move anywhere between the neighborhood or 1 to 3 miles. We know we're gonna go on average, typically 4 months, but in a market shifting, we want to keep it at 1 to 3 months to tighten it down as much as possible. Active listings, we're gonna look at active listings to learn how to win the competition. That's why active listings are important. So actually, and I'll show you my CMA, the way I do it, I present not only the sold, I present the pending, and I present the actives. And we have a conversation dialogue around that. Turnkey was mentioned, Angela had mentioned turnkey. That, for me, amongst other things, turnkey comes with the junky car in the back that doesn't work, comes with the lawnmower, like those type of things. To me, is what sets the property apart from another one. If I go to buy a car and there's 5 cars on the lot, and only one of them has upgraded seats, upgraded sound system, and it includes the new rubber mats throughout, and it's the same price, which one am I gonna go with? The one with more features. So that's where I think the turnkey helps out a seller to sell a property much quicker. Is the seller gonna necessarily get 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand more for it? I don't know, I mean, it had to be some freaking sweet furniture.
Right.
Although I don't know how many buyers are paying 50 grand more for a property because of its furniture, but it's probably gonna help the property stand out more. Does that make sense? Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody may look at it different, but I've never seen any other way to really look at it. I mean, you just gotta think about how people make buying decisions. Anything you buy, your computer you have, the clothes you're wearing, all these are all thought processes that you have. How many comps do we need? What's your guess? Let's take a guess. Everybody give me a guess. How many sold data do you think we need?
3 or 4.
3, 4, 4, 5, 3, 5. I generally shoot for 5, but if I at least have 3, good. But I like to have 5. It's not always gonna work that way. But if it was my perfect world, I would have 5 sold, 5 pendings, and 5 actives. In a perfect world, it's not gonna work out. I probably will. I end up analyzing a lot more properties than that, but yeah, if there is 5, if there isn't, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. I'm gonna pick my 3 that are the best. Because here's what happens: if you only have 1, then that becomes very difficult. If I only have 1, it's like, hey, okay, you have that 1 sold for that, but it was 8 months ago. Probably doesn't even count really as a comp anymore, and now we're really more looking at actives. So 5, 5, 5 is kind of my rule of thumb. However, just know that it's never going to always work out that way. If you have 3 at least, that's good. And what do appraisers use? Appraisers use, yeah, they use 12. I've seen some up to 5, yeah, 3, but they'll at least always have 3 on an appraisal. And then the last question here before we go to the computer says, what system listing presentation? So Adam showed me one today that I have not seen in a long time. So if you go to Nabor has a listing class or a CMA class where they teach you how to do a CMA through their platform. Actually, if you look at my external links there, I think that's the one you did it through, right? Cloud CMA.
I did it on the Matrix. There's also a cloud one.
Okay.
I did one on the actual.
I haven't in 7 years ever used the Matrix CMA system. I've never gone into it, but Adam showed it to me today, and there was a lot of stuff in there that's very similar to what KW has in the KW listing presentation that you can find in Command. So when you go to KW Command, you go to Designs, and you go to Listing Presentation, you have to click on Create New Design. You're going to click on Print Design, Listing Presentation on the left-hand side, and then from there you have a bunch of sheets that you can modify, put your headshot on, put your bio on, all of that. We'll have a separate group coaching on literally the presentation because that's a whole separate training on how to present that. We're not going to focus on that today. But it's a lot of similarities that I found in what's in there, which is all you need when you go into a listing appointment. personally, I've always felt this, you wanna get yourself to the point where if I say to you, come to my house in 2 hours to present, you're ready to go. You already know how you're gonna present it. You have a packet of your value proposition. All you have to do is sit on the computer for maybe 10, 15 minutes and do your analysis, print it, and you're ready to go. Like, that's how quick it eventually should be for you. I use a feature in MLS that's called a quick CMA. Well, you've probably seen the button. I'll show you in a moment what that's all about. Who taught me that? I believe it was Tony Oprenbeck. He's on Denny Grimes' team, Fort Myers, their top listing agent. He's the one that showed me, like, Jordas, you're bringing way too much. Here's what I come into the house with. And I started utilizing that. I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't need the full presentation, but here's why though. Like, going back to your packet, Adam, if that were a listing presentation, we should be sending out to a seller the moment you know you have a presentation coming up, what's called a pre-listing packet. Just write down the term because you don't know it yet, and then later, again, future group coaching.
Yeah.
A pre-listing packet goes out to the seller in advance to help pre-sell you. So when you get to the property, you can just focus on their motivation to sell the property and what the price is going to be, and looking at the comps, figuring out the right price. That's it. That's what you guys should be focused on. So,
And where do you find the pre-listing packet?
where?
That's on command?
Well, that command packet that I'm talking about, that you can turn that into your pre-listing packet.
Oh, okay.
That can be a pre-listing packet. Essentially, you're just sending it out in advance, and it looks like this, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I'm going to send out a packet of information over to you. It's going to have some information about myself, my team, our company, and what we do to get properties sold. If you don't mind, please take a good look at that before I arrive. That way, when we get there, we can really make this all about you and less about me telling you all about us and KW.
Cool.
I'll answer any questions you have once I get there. Cool. All right, good. Any other questions? I've answered the what you guys wanted to learn. Now let's actually have fun with a CMA. Any other questions before?
What events should you send the agreement, like, how many hours?
As soon as you know.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as you know. These are all things you want to have already ready to go. Yeah. All right, so let's do this, team. What I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna go to the MLS because we need a property right now to have some fun with this. So what I'm gonna do, since I said I'm gonna go to Golden Gate City, I'm gonna type in here Golden Gate City. And what I'm gonna do is find a property that has expired. Yeah, get closer. Go ahead. Yep, get up there. I'm gonna find a property that has expired. And let's do this. Let me do 120 days to, let's say 250. Probably. Surprised if there is any. Oh, hold on. I'm just looking for a property that we're going to use as our guinea pig. And I'm not gonna be selective. I'm gonna pick this one. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna do 2256 42nd Street Southwest. What do I know about this house? It was built in 1985, so I'm gonna write that down. 1985. It's 1,450 square feet. 1,450 square feet. Two-car garage. We actually forgot to talk about that here. Two-car garage. That's something that you'll use. So I'm gonna write that down though. So two-car garage home. Looks like shingle. Got some solar on it too. Oh, no, I got crappy pictures. They don't have any pictures. So we can't see the inside. What we could do though is see if it was ever listed before, and it was in 2016. And the way I did that was all I did was click this little to history, and right here under the picture takes me to here, and I can click on one of the old listings and even see. Hold on. For whatever reason that was not open. Let's see if I can find the listing before that, 2013. So this home's got some work. It's probably been an investment property for somebody. It's the same house, yeah. I'm just going through the. Yeah, it looks very different. Yeah, it looks very different. So nonetheless, we can't see the inside. But let me just read this. A perfect, beautiful home. It's a 3-2. Let's write that down. So 3 bed. It's 2 bath. Just wanna have this in front of me. Space to entertain, blah, 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 brand new roof, like that, so new roof. Solar panels, that's a feature, right, that would fall into this category of upgrades, again, it might not, while we're on this, let's just, I'll say this right now, especially when it comes to upgrades. Would you guys agree that there are sometimes upgrades that we do to a property that, unfortunately, we don't get the full return on back? So when that happens, because the comps are the comps, again, I know you spent 200,000 on this property, and I've actually seen circumstances where it's very clear it was over improved. There is such a thing as over improving a property, so keep that in mind. What did you make? You made a comment. What did you say?
I was saying stucco.
Oh, where?
I was just looking down at the bottom that says stucco.
Oh, no, I don't even look at that. What I'm looking at, so if we already know it's a single family home, I don't need to write that down. No pool, so I just want to make a mention of that. There is no pool here. And then the other thing here I'm looking for right here, so it's a 1-story, we can obviously already see that. That's another thing. Don't compare a 1-story home to 2-story homes and vice versa. It makes a massive difference in the price per square footage, and it's gonna throw your numbers off. What I'm looking for in this section is really concrete block, so I want to make sure it was concrete block.
Doesn't it cost more to make a ranch than it does? I mean, upstairs.
Yeah. Down here, if I was in waterfront property, I would look at that too. That's a feature that we didn't mention here, but if it's waterfront, we want to mention waterfront as well. So put that to your list up there. What I'm looking for generally here, because I know I'm in Golden Gate City, is the water. So it looks like it's on Central. So it looks like we're gonna have city water, sewer. And does that sometimes throw off the price a little bit? Yes. Generally speaking, Central would be a little bit more, but I've seen situations where it's the same. Somebody's gonna pay the price, even if it has well and septic, as one that has Central. Yet I'm writing that down, because later, if the numbers are just so tight, I'm then gonna walk through my list of things that I'm gonna use to eliminate properties off my list. That's what I'm creating here, is a list for that. Full disclaimer right now, we're gonna go over. So if you have to go at 2, you gotta go. We're recording it, so no worries. Rose, reschedule my next call at 2 o'clock. Let her know I have to call her a little bit later, so I'm gonna go over. You guys are fair with that? Is that good? Because we took that time to go over this conversation first, so it took a little bit longer. Rose, please take care of that. Then I'm going down. Normally, if it was an HOA, like I already know it's not an HOA, I mean, I would look at that, so essentially that's really all I really need to know about this property right here. Now, one of the things I like to do, especially if a property is not recently been sold, let's write down this price to see what price we come up with. So they had it at 470. Let's look at their pricing history. So they had it at 470 August of 2022, and then they took it off the market. It was probably rented, so it was probably hard to show. And then they just expired. So they probably never even showed it. Who knows? But I'm gonna write down 470 just to see what we come up with when we take a look at it. The comment I was making, let's assume this property has never been sold and we have no way of knowing some of these things. Then I just go to Collier Appraiser and see what I can learn about the property there. So on collierappraiser.com, I'm gonna go to search database. I'm gonna hit accept. And then I'm gonna go to address and I'm gonna pop the address in there, copy and pasted it, search. Now I have parcel ID number, which guess what? I need that for a listing contract. Need the site address. I need the seller's names. So I got the names of the sellers now. There's 2 owners here. What else do I have? What I'm looking for is a property detail. And I can see, okay, yep, new roof in 2022. I can see permits here, new roof in 2022. Year built, yep, I'm confirming the year built. It was built in 85. So CO is your certificate of occupancy. So first tax year for this property was 1985. That's when it was built. And it shows it to you right here as well. If this house were to add, let's say, an extra room, a pool, a covered area, maybe not a pool, but a covered area, paved area, it would end up showing up here because that's a building or an extra feature. Right now, it's just a single family home that's 1,450 square feet. That's the under air. The adjusted area will include the garage, the lanai, and anything else that's under the roof line of the property. So far, this data matches up with what I have from the listing, so I feel pretty good there. Just a couple of quick things that are here on these other tabs. I never really use it, but there's just kind of giving you an idea of where it's at. There is a little canal there. I'm going to write that down. Honestly, I don't give canals too much value in Golden Gate City because it's not like I'm going to go ahead and go to the Gulf or anything crazy with that. But maybe I could in a canoe though. I could in a canoe. Then I'm going to go to sketches here, and this is where you can kind of verify. All right, yep, under air in the blues, 1,450, and I can see there's 240 square feet in the lanai and another 420 in the garage, and the little entryway is screened in, so there's 54 square feet there. No pool, I can verify that because there's no pool in this diagram. So I got what I need from Poly Appraiser. I can get out of there. I don't need it anymore. Any questions?
Do you look at taxes or anything on them now?
For what purpose?
Maybe they're behind in that taxes.
Well, it won't, they could be, it won't mess me up for the purpose of doing a comp, but they'll need to pay these taxes. So I'll need to make reference of it on their net sheet.
Yeah, that's true. I'm thinking.
Yeah, on their net sheet is where that's gonna matter.
Okay.
Yeah. Which that's title company's job to get your net sheet. I mean, yeah, yep. All right, Angela, Jen, any questions before I keep going?
No, I'm good.
All right, cool.
You good?
All right, so now that we have the property, I'm gonna go back to search again, residential, and now I'm gonna have a clean start. Now, here's the thing, Golden Gate City has its own code. It has its own geocode, and I know that because I think it's 24. And then 24 is Golden Gate City. So I could look up that way. I can look up by type it in development name, Golden Gate City, because that's how it shows up. Golden Gate City and Golden Gate Estates just have their own development name. If it was neither one of those, then it wasn't in an HOA like your property and your property Palm River. It probably has Palm River as far as the HOA area, or the development area.
I just went on the map and just drew the line.
Yeah, well, that was the other point, yeah, so Adam said draw the line, so if I needed to draw boundaries to figure out, hey, I want to do my search in one particular area, then I'm gonna go to map search. And since I already know I'm going to Golden Gate State, or City, and that's what I love about Golden Gate City, it's just this nice little square for the purpose of learning today. I can just draw my little square here. And we're going to strictly be focused on just properties in there. If I wanted to exclude properties from there, then we would hit exclude. I'm going to actually leave it for the purpose of right now. So we've already done our first thing to narrow down the comps. We can start it now. We got 17 homes to analyze. Not yet, though. We still have some things to break down. Let's do the simple, easy stuff. We know it's a single family home. Let's do single family. Focus on just that. What else do we know? We're not going to look at distressed sales, so I don't want to look at short sales and foreclosed, and there probably isn't any. Go for it. Okay. And here's what I'm going to tell you right now. This is super sensitive. I don't know if you guys noticed that I accidentally clicked here and I threw it all off. This is super sensitive. You got to make sure you know what criteria you're clicking on. So then I like to go to the far right. And remember, I told you that I don't do bedrooms. What I do is I go down to square footage, living area. And what did I say?
1450.
So what I want? What's the range I want to look at then to compare?
Said two
2 to 300.
All right. So let's do this. Let's look at let's just round down 1,200, and we're gonna round up to, let's keep it the same. Let's go, so 550, 650. Let's go 700. So I basically went 250 under, 250 over. That's the range I'm gonna use. See, it's giving me a question mark. Let's find out why that is. Oh, because I messed up. I'm missing a 1. No, I was missing a 1.
Oh, I see.
There we go. Yeah, I was missing a number. Again, super sensitive. Now acreage. Now here's the thing. In this scenario, I don't have to worry about acreage, and the main reason is that I'm looking at strictly just Golden Gate City. Going back to the map view, this is where you want to be careful if you were doing a 1 mile radius. If I was going to do just, or let's just say I went 5 mile radius, because a 1 mile radius and I put a pin right in the middle, it wouldn't hit the outer edges. But here's the thing, there's acreage here. You guys know that, right? Here and here, there's acreage. So you got to be careful that you don't comp a property in Golden Gate City with one that's in technically Golden Gate Estates area or urban estates, as some people like to call it. You wouldn't want one in there, but since I have these boxes drawn, I'm not too worried about it right now. Do I want to play safe? I'm going to for the purpose of today. So I know in Golden Gate City, what are the sizes of those lots for the most part? What are they? You guys know?
Like less than an acre.
Quarter acre.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're essentially 0.24, 0.25, right around there. What I like to do on their acreage is I'm gonna hit 0.30 and down negative to show me only everything below that. Year built, we said it was built when? 1985. What do I want to put down here then for right now? I personally don't want to do anything right now. Not yet, because I'm only down to 5 properties for actives, and then let's do this while we're at it. So let's look at the pendings while we're at this, and let's look at the solds. So all I did was click the boxes here, and I'm going to unclick active and pending for a second and see how many sold data do we have. 15. Actually, I'm going to focus on that for right now, on that number. So I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave active, pending, unchecked. Notice what happens when I check them. The number goes up down here. But I'm going to leave them unchecked for right now. Let me just work with this 15 actives or 15 solds. I'm not going to, well, now that I have more sold, then I do want to narrow it down a little bit. So let's go 1975, 10 years older and 10 years newer. Let's go to 1985 and see how far that narrows it down. If it's too much, not bad. It's 8 actually. I'm gonna stick to that. We know it's a 2-car garage. Is a home that has no garage or a 1-car garage worth less or more than a 2-car garage home? Let's say that again. A home that has a carport or a 1-car garage, is it worth more or less than a 2-car garage house?
Less than a 2-car garage.
Garage is worth more, yeah. I personally am a fan of doing 2+ on the garage because to not look at single car garage homes, but now look at this and it really narrowed it down. So I'm not going to use that feature yet. I'm going to wait because I want 5 comps at least. Let's go pool, no pool. Let's go no pool since we already know that. Ooh, 5. Okay. Yeah, where we want to be. Let's do some simple ones. Concrete block. I want to only look at. Now here's the thing on your end. This is going to probably be blank. All the stuff down here below this additional fields, you need to add these fields in by simply just clicking add. And then on the left side are all the available fields that you can use to filter. You click on the one you want to use, and then you move it, you hit the add button. Notice now amenity was not added because it was either on the search page or was already one of your frequently used fields, so it wouldn't add that. Let's just click AVM. Add that. It did add it because I don't have that as a feature. Now when I hit back and I go all the way down to the bottom, AVM is there. So that's how you build this list up.
What's AVM?
Automatic value something. I wouldn't even worry about it. It doesn't make it sensible right now. I'll just give you an example of how you add these additional features. So I'm going to click concrete block because I do want to look at, ooh, that really narrowed it. I'm going to uncheck it for now because I want to see what those other 5, you know what? Let's just keep it simple. If it's 3, it's 3. So right now, without doing any further analyzing, I'm at 3 comps right now in the last 4 months. Let's just take a quick look at them because I'm curious now. We already saw the picture of the front of the other house, so we can get an idea. All right, so these are Eric FC already 3-bedroom. How many hours? Ours is 3-bedroom, so we're similar there. We're 2-bathroom. Ours is bigger by about 250 square feet or 200 or so. Let's just look at some of these pictures. And now this is where we start to compare some of the features. So, okay, this is a 1-car garage. Nice land. This one's got hurricane shutter. So those things later on, you're going to want to write down. Hey, it's got hurricane shutter, the comparable. Does ours have it or not? These are things you're going to want to write down. So the one thing we can't do in this scenario is analyze the inside because we don't have pictures of the subject property, so we're just gonna have to take it at face value and pivot and make adjustments when we're there at the property. Right now, we're just looking to see what those three sold look like. Because by me looking at these pictures, I'm ready for when I go to the house. If I go to the house, I'm like, wow, yeah, this property has looks nothing like what I was expecting or what the comps look like. Then obviously that's gonna change my pricing strategy a little bit. Not a bad looking little house though right here, right? As far as age, I mean, it's 5 years older than mine. It's a little bit smaller. 3 bedroom, 2 bath, single family home. This one had one car garage on it, so a little slight difference there. So, okay, but overall, pretty close. Notice this one ended up selling at 424. In my mind, I'm already starting to kind of put a store together. I'm like, oh, that one sold for 424. 470 seems high for another garage space. So I'm like, it's probably not updated either, like this one.
I know.
Yeah, I'm already making these conclusions in my brain. Now, what I'm gonna do is go back to criteria. And I wanna add some pendings in there just to see what's happening in the pending world. I only added one. I'm very curious to see what it is, so let me pull it up right now. So this one was listed at 459 in 4 days, days on market. In 4 days, it went under contract. Is that a good sign or a bad sign? Good sign. That's a good sign. For me, that's a good sign. That's a sign that says that the list price was good. They didn't miss the mark, and it was good enough to get an offer. I like that. 1562 square feet, very close to ours, only 100 square foot more. Does have an extra bedroom than we do and an extra bathroom. What does that mean? Ours doesn't have. Ours doesn't have that.
No.
Ours doesn't have that. A little bit older than ours, but not by much. This one's a one car. So I mean that's one thing our property does have. But here's what I want you guys to start realizing as I talk about these different features. I'm gonna go back and make my disclaimer again. And my next disclaimer now is that I'm a builder. I don't know if I go to buy stuff, what it's gonna cost me to do certain things. I know a pool's probably gonna cost me more than 50 grand, but is a house that has a pool versus one that doesn't have a pool 50 grand more? No, it's not. It's not a brand new pool. So there are certain things that are sometimes a wash. You may have certain features, and here's the thing again, don't sit there. And I know you might say, Jordas, that's kind of tough to do. I'm like, it's just, I can only say that it comes easier with time. Don't sit there and analyze 5,000 for the car or for the garage, 4,000 for the spot. Don't start there and start analyzing in that way. We're looking for just a range. And the competition really is going to ultimately give us that range. So right now, the story I've concluded, let me go back to my single line view. I'm only concluding right now. My conclusion on the sold data is that we're overpriced. We were listed at 470 and the comps are showing me between 424 and 440. The one that's pending tells me I'm overpriced. That one's at 459 and I would argue that it has some features that are way better. What I maybe gain in the extra garage space on my house, I'm losing with this losing value on because this property has another bedroom, another bathroom, 100 square feet more of living space. So I already know my list price is high. Now let's add the actives in here. And notice I didn't change anything. I left them at the 120. And the reason I did that is because we don't have 100 homes to analyze. If me going back 120 days created too much to go through, I'll start at 30 days and go from there. 30 days, I'm gonna go from there. All right, active wise, what did that add? That added really realistically 2 properties that added to the list. So there are 2. I'm already laughing. Why do you guys think I'm laughing?
545.
Why am I laughing at this property?
It's overpriced.
Jen, Angela, what do you guys think about this property? With what we've been looking at and learning
Because
together.
they're higher than what
It's
we're
a lot
looking
high-
at.
it's a lot higher.
Yeah, a lot higher.
That's insane, right? Let's look at this house. Well, hold on, guys.
It's insane.
Days on market, 121 days.
Well, hold on. It might be made out of gold. Let's find out. Nice. I
No,
love the step up. That step up is worth about 100 grand. Oh, and the central area unit, up here, definitely worth that as well.
We're starting to buy this house.
Oh, dude, they pre-wired this up here for wall mounts, check that out. But I'm being sarcastic about that, but these are the type of things sellers think add $1 million to their home.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, dude, I updated the granite here, got updated granite.
Damn, that's out.
All right, I won't be mean to this house anymore. By the way, personally, if I walked this house and I don't know who listed this house, I would have said, listen, we need.
That's terrible pictures. Sorry.
Well, pictures, yes, not the best pictures. You need to, these are not professional pictures. And they're cluttered. This home would have, it would have gone a lot further, would have looked a lot better, I'm sorry, if it was staged properly or at least decluttered.
Yeah.
Staging doesn't always mean go hire a stager. Staging can mean like, take your crap out of here. You have too much stuff, it looks small.
Are there two kitchens in this house?
I think so, yeah, I think the garage
That's
is
one of the
enclosed.
good things that you could do on your, pre-listing packet.
Looks like there's two houses in this.
Yeah, it looks like it's, I think this, the garage is enclosed. Yeah, the garage is enclosed is what it is. Oh, this is.
Oh, is that what it is?
Two
But-
grills. All right, let's stop.
So the garage is a bedroom?
It is, but hold on a second. That doesn't mean it adds $100,000. The home also includes a mother-in-law's law suite offering added flexibility and versatility. Let me look at the confidential remarks. So there's no mention of whether that's permitted or not. I'm gonna make assumptions, but I would go to appraiser.com to see if there's a permit on it. And if there isn't one there, I would ask the agent. I would look at the seller's disclosure if there was one attached, but there isn't. But here's what I know. This home is smaller. We have a similar square garage configuration. Single roof, similar lot size. Obviously, we're both in Golden Gate City. They're at 545 and it's been on the market to your point, Sherry, 121 days. Is it 121 days in today's market or price?
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Average right now is 50.
Let's look at the next property. This one just came on the market, so let's take a look.
This one's nice.
So, ooh, not that
Updated kitchen, updated floors. Did I?
So if you feel the property's overpriced, do you include that in your comparison?
Well, yes, because I'm not using that as a comparison. Let me explain what I mean by that later when I finish.
Okay.
Analyzing. Bathroom updated. There's a reason for leaving it too, which I'll explain a little bit. And this lanai was done up. I mean, they put some money and bricks on there. So this is a fully remodeled property. Now, obviously, the analysis we're doing is not based on this property. So we didn't compare other property, you know, obviously we're not comping this one, but right now. This house, let's see, about this, a little bit more square footage, one extra bedroom, one extra bathroom, fully remodeled. This property is new on the market, it's 9 days. So, I mean, we don't know yet, is it really overpriced or not? Again, we're not comping this one, but I'm gonna leave it there. This is not our comparable, but I'm gonna leave it there. Why? Because it's comparable in like size and what people are gonna be looking for in that, from that respect. So I'm gonna leave it there. Now, I wanna show you guys a feature. Let's say I need to stop, I can't, my brain needs a break because this property just killed me. I'm gonna hit, I'm gonna click this button up here so they're all selected. I'm gonna hit save. And I'm gonna save it as a new saved search. And I'm gonna name it, so today it's gonna be called sample comp for class. You name it whatever you need to name it, and then you hit save.
Oh.
I can go back to it later, take a breather.
That is so. You do that again.
It's recorded, go back to it. It's all I just click that and hit save tab and hit new save search. Here's
Now,
another.
how do you find that now when you're?
Come on, I was gonna go there next. All right, you go there next by clicking on search. No, my matrix, save searches,
Easy enough.
and then I'm gonna put sample. I'm gonna put what I typed in it. Sample comp for class. I can click this little drop down. I can click it. And I can either jump right to the result or just go to the criteria and start modifying my criteria further.
That is so cool.
Yeah, here is, something I would advise. So here's the thing, right now, we have, let's go back to that list. Let me just finish this thought, and then I'm gonna share something else that I'd recommend doing in this situation. Let me go back to it. Come on. So I'm gonna click results and go back to the results. When you click all the properties right here with the button on the top left, I don't do the cloud CMA, I do a quick CMA. I don't even do this one again that says CMA, that's the one you did, Adam, I think. I just click quick CMA. And on here, it's a 2-pager in this situation. It breaks down my active listings as one. So I can look at all 2 of my active listings and get the data that I like to present: square footage, original price, list price, days on market, stuff that I want to talk about, high, low, medium price. I'm going to look at my pending, so that my pendings are separate. So there was 1 pending, and then on my second page are my solds. Then it puts my 3 solds together. And what happens at the bottom now is that it kind of gives me some median, min, max, average numbers for quick stats. So the average price sold in this area is going to be 420 for this comp this analysis we did was 425 to 450. The average being right around 429. Currently list price median 449, and then you got your min and your max ranges. Average is really about 474. Is what the average list price should be, or could be, for the property, based on the stat that it's taking. Here's what I don't like about this comp so far, or this analysis, that it wouldn't help me if I just came in with these 2. Now, I want these 2, and the reason I want these 2 is because they tell a story. First off, this house is almost identical to mine, and it's overpriced. So when the seller says, well, I saw them at 545, well, they're also 121 days on the market and they're not sold.
Right.
We do not want to be at that price, or else that's going to be you in 4 to 6 months still sitting there. So I will keep it there to prove my point. This one, when they start comparing, oh, I'm at 550, I'm like, well, I can go. Remember, how do buyers make a decision? They look at 2 homes and they compare features and benefits. If you tell me I'm going to list this subject property at 550 and I got this one at 550, but it's been fully remodeled, updated, which am I going to go with? 550. That's fully remodeled and remodeled or renovated. I'm going to go with that one. So here's what I want to know. I want to just say and this is what I save my search, and then what I do is I start a fresh search because I'm curious about something. I'm curious if I'm shopping in Golden Gate City. If I'm shopping in Golden Gate City for a single family home that does not have a pool, and let's say has at least a 1 to 2 car garage, how many homes am I up against? I'm up against 5 homes. 2 of them should be the one we were already analyzing. Or none of them are. Let's see here, what happened? Why did they not? Let's do this. Let's do the same box that we drew. Sure, that we get the search as close as possible. Just seeing what does the overall competition look like without me going crazy into breaking down too much. I drew my box just like I did before. I'm looking at single family homes. I'm looking 1 to 2 car garage with no pool. Even if I had a pool, let's just see what happens. Okay, so if I leave the pool open, it leaves me 7 properties. Click on these real quick. Geez, what do they think they have there? 649, 66 days on the market. That's insane. 649, 6 days on the market. What are you guys thinking as we're seeing these 2 properties that are not part of what we're analyzing right now, but they're there? What's your initial thought?
That's the idea. Here you go.
I was thinking that the pricing too high.
Yeah, those two homes, I mean, we're not analyzing those two homes, but again, I just wanted, what I'm doing right now is looking at what's active in the range of my property. So I can see if there's any competition I missed. Right now, those first two are not competition. I wouldn't even price it that high, plus there's a new construction home, price in the 600s. So again, I'm just ruling out, make sure that I'm not missing anything. I see this one here, now this one didn't show up in our search. It could be for a couple different reasons, tough to know exactly what it was without really breaking it down. But this property at 585, it's not that far off from ours. 1378, 32, 1991 build, quarter acre. Been on the market 170 days, so we already know that's too high. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not missing anything. It's point out proving to myself here. I got this one at 575, 1,000 square foot. Jesus. Is that high or low? It's remodeled, nice.
Nice.
1,000 square foot, $500,000, Golden Gate City. It's a little overpriced, right?
Yeah.
All right. So far, I'm feeling better. All right. This one was in our search, so we're good there. I already have that one. This one wasn't. Let's see what this one now. This one looks like a wood frame home. How can we tell? Well, how can we
The
tell?
siding.
There you go. Jesus, great pictures. By the way, guys, don't embarrass yourself by doing this. Don't do that to yourself.
A nice candy.
There are situations where, hey, you know, maybe there's a tenant in place. I've had to list properties like that where there's a tenant. Not much I can really do there, but whenever there's a seller, I'm adjusting. Now, again, this is not a property I'm analyzing, but I would say these people are more realistic in their price. Yeah. So I feel good actually about the comps I have. I think overall, I could add if I wanted this one to at least prove that, hey, we're above that one. But for the most part, really, I can go back to my saved search. Sample. Results. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click it all. I'm going to hit quick CMA. I already have that up. And I'm going to go ahead and print that with me, take it to the house. What else do you think I'm going to print with me to take to the house? No. Well, yes, that's all extra stuff.
I'm thinking about selling.
We're analyzing a property right now. I'm gonna take, and this is what I do. You don't have that. It doesn't mean I take these three properties, and I'm actually, in this case, I probably would end up taking all of them. Normally, I don't take my sold if I have enough active data to compare, but in this case, I don't have a ton of them. But I would end up printing up my sold and my actives, and I'm gonna print. This is what I do. Doesn't mean you have to. I'm gonna hit print, and I'm gonna print with realtor report with photos, and I'm taking that with me to the house because when we're at the kitchen table, we're gonna sit there and analyze these properties. We're gonna analyze these properties. I'm gonna start with the high level overview, and then we'll analyze the property. We'll have a separate group coaching on how to do a listing presentation, take all this to actually present it. But essentially, I'm gonna walk them through solds, pendings, and our competition. And once we've gone through it, they're gonna make a decision. They're gonna make a decision, what should I be listing my property, you know, Sherry, at what price do you think we can list your home where it's gonna cause it to sell and stand out amongst the competition? A normal person will look at the sold data, look at the competitions and pick a decent range. Now, let me ask you guys, what's the range you're gonna pick based on everything we've analyzed on this property? What are you gonna recommend to them?
They're saying 470, right?
They're at 470, yeah.
I don't think it's too far off.
I'm
450.
I'm saying 440. Yeah, or maybe
435.
425.
So you're all right. Let's start with the first comment that was made. Angela, was that you don't think it's that far off?
Yeah.
All right. So my initial thought right now, remember this property went on the market, they took it off in 2 months, and then it just expired. The reality is this property never got exposed enough.
Oh, yeah.
It hasn't been exposed, it was withdrawn.
Right. So maybe the inside is nice. We don't know.
We don't know that too yet, we haven't seen the property. Now that's gonna change. When I go see this property, and if it's junk, then all this still valid for me. If it's fully updated or, you know, better updates than these comps had, I would say, let's get it on there for 470. With the caveat though, I'm gonna still say, hey, listen, I think the fact that you haven't been on the market, there's not a ton of inventory competition. The inventory, the competition you do have is overpriced. You and I both agree on that. It's overpriced. And again, going back to their home, maybe it's updated, maybe there's some stuff that's better. Let's go ahead and go at 470. But what I want you to understand is right now, in the last 4 months, we're really seeing a home like yours go for closer to 440, 425, 440. There's a probability that that's where we could receive offers, but let's do this. Let's get on the market at 470. We're going to do this. We're going to do an open house the first 2 weekends. That way we can get some more people in there and get some feedback for you. In 2 weeks, if we have 10 showings, private showings, not just open house guests, and no offers, then that's our indicator that we're overpriced. If we do have offers, we'll know it's a decent offer if it's in this range. So I would say if we get an offer in the 430, let's not get offended, because most sellers get offended when they get a lower than list price offer. Now, if we get offers under 400, okay.
Yeah,
But now I can negotiate up because I know the home is worth more.
right.
At the end of the day, the home is worth for the buyers who are willing to offer and what the seller is willing to accept. So there's been situations that I got an offer that was like lower than really what I think the home is worth, and not what I think, but what the numbers tell me it is. And the seller's like, no, I need to get out of here. So sometimes the motivation might even prompt somebody to say, no, I'll take the offer. That is not your decision to make, but you are there to negotiate on your seller's behalf, get them the best price. So right now, the expectation we're going to set, Angela, is we're going to go ahead and list it at 470. In 2 weeks, we may have to make a price improvement. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
Yes.
However, Angela, this is just me.
What's that?
I'm getting my thought again. This is just me, what I'm about to say. I think you're right. I think we can go at 470 and we might be okay. But there's a chance that it could backfire.
I agree.
There could be a chance it could backfire. And I think the reason I lost that one listing I told you about is because I always stay on the side of caution and hey, let's price it where the market says. The market did say 440. Maybe I would extend to 450. So realistically, I would have loved for him to say 450.
Right. So here's my thinking though, which maybe, I don't know, maybe it's wrong. It's like, you can always come down.
You can, but here's the I don't want to say but here's the only challenge with it. In this market, Angela, I think we'll be okay, meaning, and I say this market in the sense that there's just still not a crazy amount of inventory. Yes, there's more than the last 2 years in general, but there's still a low amount in comparison. So I think we would end up being okay. If this was a market where there's 7 to 8 months of inventory, and in Golden Gate City, that would look like over 100 homes for sale, I probably wouldn't take that chance. You have this graph in what you presented to me this morning. I'm gonna just kind of try to draw this graph out real fast. So something like this is what it looks like. So on the left-hand side of the graph, so down here is time on market. So like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. On the left-hand side is activity or views, however you want to look at it. I look at it as excitement. There's the most excitement week 1 on your property. Week 2 goes down a little bit. Week 3 goes down a little bit. Week 4 goes down a little bit. It continues to go down, the excitement around your home. If you, by week 4, and I would almost argue week 2 or 3, don't have a good offer on your table that should have at least maybe even been considered, negotiated, doesn't mean it has to be the perfect offer. If you didn't see an offer in the first 2 to 4 weeks, there's a high probability you missed your opportunity. That's the only challenge with that, Angela, is that, again, I think today's world, we would probably be okay with, hey, just come down. Here's the other challenge that, though, if I come down, Angela, so let's say I wanted this job, I wanted to list it at 450, and you come down, Angela, and you list at 470, that's a $20,000 reduction. Here's the problem with that. What do you guys think the problem with that is? Well, go ahead.
I'd be angry, frustrated with that.
Well, they wouldn't be angry because we put our disclaimer out. Hey, we can give your price a shot, but hey, in 2 weeks we need to adjust. Here's anyone else? What do you think, what problems do you see happening from this? Let's say we start at 470, 2 to 3 weeks later, we drop it at 450.
Less traction on the house because it's not as new on the market.
People think something might be wrong with it.
Well, it could be all of it, not as new, something could be wrong with it. It could re-energize the property because, oh, wait a minute, now it's actually at a price where I think it's worth it. The consumer may say, okay, now we're priced right. And let's go back and look at that house again. That could happen too. What could also happen is, oh man, they dropped 20K.
They're desperate.
When I go to make my offer, man, maybe let's offer 20 less. See what happens. So there's a probability they're going to attract a lower offer in the long run by having to do constant price reductions that way. And most sellers, Angela, tell me if you agree here, but most sellers won't drop from 470 to 450. They're going to want to go 465. They're going to want to go 460 and then 455 and then finally 450 upwards of what? 6 to 8 weeks later, we've missed the market.
Yep.
We've helped a lot of other houses sell first. And now we're 4 or 5 months on the market and this house is stale. And you're ultimately end up taking a lower offer than you ever would have if you just would have listed correctly. Can I end with one quick story and then like maybe 5 minutes of questions?
Yeah.
There's a gentleman during the pandemic that listed a property. It was my customer, or it was a referral to me. Very high D personality. It was over off a Corkscrew in Estero by the Publix. Little small community there, not a ton of homes, maybe under 100 homes in this little subdivision. And the price that I came up with in my comp was $850. He goes, Jordas, I want $1 million for it. I want more than $1 million for it.
Oh my goodness.
I said, and this is back when the market was in the transition from, oh my God, I just got 20 offers and 5 of them over list price. We were getting out of that to like, hey, yeah, there's still multiple offer, but hey, people want inspections. People are not going to waive appraisals. You know, we were in that little weird period in between that. He just made it, by the way. You'll see what I mean. So I said, well, hey, I get it. Our best chance of getting that price that you want is pricing it correctly and letting this frenzy keep going of people coming in overpricing and over offering. Or I don't want to say over offering because in their mind that's property was worth it, you know, no judgment. So he doesn't do it. He listed it for $999, $900. I took it, but I already told him, hey, 850 is where we need to be. We're gonna have to make adjustments. So I said, I'll go for your price. I'll do my best. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, actually on the 3rd week, I made an adjustment. I don't. This will be funny to look at. I can remember his name for a second. Hold on. This is one of those guys that the minute it closed, I was like, bye. The minute this property closed, I was like, see you later. Don't call me.
Oh, wow.
We're done. I want to see something real quick. Nope, that's not. It's like, yeah, I didn't sell that low. You guys don't mind, right? That I'm slowing down, but I just want to show you guys something.
Till it's time for a 3 o'clock meeting.
Have a 3 o'clock or you I probably
Don't we have a 3 with you?
do we?
Yeah, on Thursday, we were supposed to.
Yeah, I think we do. All right, so check this out, guys.
Meeting, right?
This is the house right here. 999 is what it was. I told him 850 to begin with. Told him 850 to begin with. So for April 2nd, 999. April 21st goes from 999 to 8969. And you see the store 969 to 944, 944 to 899, 899 to 849. Look at the differences in dates, but not that far apart.
No.
When pending, actually 849, we finally priced at 849, when pending, look how quick, like 2 days.
Right.
That guy backed out, something stupid. 2 days later, I get it pending again and sold for 850, 900.
Paid him 900.
If he would have priced it at the 850, I told him just to begin with, honestly, I really think he would have been in the middle between 875 and 900. I truly think he would have got that.
From April to June.
April to June, what? Time to sell it?
It took a couple months, yeah.
That's normal. I took almost 2 years to sell a property one time.
What?
Houses, listen, guys, the market you guys have seen before, that's not normal. Houses selling fast like that, that's not.
Yes.
Some houses take their, in a buyer's market, it's gonna be a little bit longer. It might be a couple months. Especially when you have situations like this where they wanna test the market at their price. The reason I took this, I almost didn't take this listing. I took it for a couple of reasons. It was a referral. And the guy was, although he was very pain in the butt, he was business savvy. I didn't have the hard time getting him to reduce the price. He knew, okay, Dad, Jordan, let's go ahead and reduce it. Go ahead and reduce it. I didn't have to have a long conversation about it with him because I was clear up front with him. All right, we'll go for it. I'm gonna do my best, but we're gonna make price improvements if we don't sell. And what do we end up selling at? So all he really did was waste 2 months of carrying costs, trying to test this, and we could have had this done right away.
Right.
Yeah, questions?
I have a quick question. Can you do a CMA on land too?
Very similar process, I mean, but reality is, I'm just looking at like where I've done it recently is either like the estates or Lehigh Acres. I'm looking at comparison in acreage, make sure it's, similar range.
Only bad thing is you can't compare wetland to non-wetland.
Yeah, you have to analyze that yourself, like,
A lot of research.
you have to analyze wetland and upland, if you're in an area like that. Yeah, so, but it's easier. Land overall is easier to do. Where it gets complicated is in some of those unique situations, like actually, while I was clicking on houses here, there was a new construction in there, I don't even remember it, to be honest, or maybe this is an old satellite photo. But in a situation like that, that'll probably be a harder one to comp the land because there is no land sales there. Traditionally, right? So I have seen some unique situations like that, which makes it a little bit tougher. What else? Questions?
Nothing really.
Jen, Jen's gone. Angela, any questions?
Nope, no questions. I was just gonna say I'm getting off, so thank you.
All right, my pleasure. Take care. Rose, stay on. Rose, you can go ahead and stop the recording.